Okay, this is another series that I'm gonna do on my channel. It's gonna be what if Deku was betrayed, villain, because I feel like when they're betrayed, they always are like heroes, and I do like some of them, but like I also don't rarely ever see villain what ifs. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, just let me know about your thoughts on this. And you guys probably aren't, but like, yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna say that Deku's dad, Quirk, is gonna be um is gonna be he's able to harden things around him, but not that powerful. So it's kind of like the opposite of Shigaraki. Like they can be like brothers or like something like that. And Shigaraki is like older or something, but that doesn't really matter because it's not gonna really do anything. They could be like long lost or brothers or something like that. But yeah, so Deku is born, and he has a hardening quirk. Inko has the normal one, and he's not born with it, but he gets a quirk, just a weak hardening quirk. At least so I thought. A weak hardening quirk as a kid, and Bakugo still has a huge egotistic thing, and since Deku realized that he was being bullied like a lot earlier, he doesn't hang out with Bakugo, and yeah, so Asashi leaves, and then Inko basically uses Deku as a slave and makes him do all the chores and stuff like that. It makes him do everything that normally a mom would do, and yeah, and it's just fucking him up. But yeah. So this happens for a while, and Deku's like, if I don't have a strong quirk, I'll make up for it in strength, kind of like also does, except with magic. But yeah, and he is working on his hardening quirk, but like, yeah, it's not getting that strong. And time skip, like, let's say Deku is 13. And yeah, so Deku is just walking, and is walking by, and he sees Bakugo bullying a kid or a girl, a girl that looks about the same age as them, and runs over and yells at Bakugo to stop, and Bakugo's like, "Huh, what are you gonna do about it, nerd?" and stuff like that, and starts making explosions in his hand, and Deku gets scared, but still holds his ground, and he gets blown up a couple of times, but he hardens, and his hardening's gotten like Kirishima's, except a little weaker, so it's not very strong, and he's pretty blown up, and while that happens, Uraraka, that's who it was, I don't know if I said that before. Uraraka hid behind a tree, and they didn't see that because they were exploding. Deku, they went off, and they're like, hey, let's go find her again. And yeah, so Deku just sits down, leaning against a tree, and all beaten and battered. And then Uraraka's like, hey, thanks for helping me. And Deku's like, yeah, no problem. And, yeah, so they exchange phone numbers, and they start talking, and they get in a relationship. And, Deku, uh, Deku, let's say, meets some of Uraraka's friends, let's say, is Ida, Kaminari, that, Electro Dude, I think that is, I don't know, Electro Dude, that gets dumb whenever he emits too much electricity. I think his name's Kaminari, but I haven't watched My Hero Academia in a while, so, yeah. And then there's, Momo, and Momo's still very rich and everything, but their Momo's family wanted her to get a normal life and less of being all rich and everything, and they wanted her to be able to get strong and powerful on her own, so they put her in mostly a private school, but not too much of a private school. Not too big of and expensive, nice private school, but they're in a private school. And Uraraka is gonna be more her family's gonna be better in the income, so they have more money, but not too much, just enough for her to get in to the school. And yeah, so Deku is meets them, and for the next 2 years they train and talk and becomes really close friends and stuff like that. And they are all applying for UA, and yeah, so they all train until UA exams, and Deku is also going to be quite smart in this. He's going to be really smart, and he's going to get 4th place, I guess, in the written test, and yeah, they don't really go into that, so that's what he gets. And yeah, so practical exam, I think it's the practical exam or fighting exam, and basically in this one, it's gonna be everybody chooses a group of 5 people, and they have to work together as a team, helping each other fight the robots, and also also protecting each other and taking down robots, and whichever top 4 people get into the top 4 groups get into 1A and stuff. And yeah, so obviously they choose 5 people, and yeah, so Deku is just okay, yeah, let's go. And they worked out a plan. They got a couple hours. Everybody got a couple hours just to formulate a plan for how they're going to take down the robots. And yeah, so basically they just chose Ida, Deku, and Kaminari to be the main attackers, and then Momo would help with support, and Uraraka, since she was training, she's going to be a bit stronger, and she could lift more of the robots, so she would lift them so they couldn't move, while Ida, Kaminari, and Deku would destroy them. And yeah, Deku's gonna be strong enough to destroy the robots. But yeah, so yeah, and Deku is like the test starts and everybody rushes in their own groups, and they just start destroying robots. They do their tactic and everything, and they racked up into second place, because let's say Todoroki and Bakugo decided to be on the same team, just because, like, they were, like, the final ones who hadn't been on a team, because nobody wanted to be with Bakugo, because he was yelling all the time. Todoroki, let's say he was in it because he didn't want to listen to his father, get a recommendation or something. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. But they're in second place behind them, and they were just all destroying robots, not even thinking about each other as a group. So they got the most points, but they were noticing that let's say it's just like Invisigirl, purple grape juice dude, him, pervert dude, and some other weak person in 1A. But that doesn't really matter. But yeah, so they're just destroying robots, and Zero Pointer comes out, and instead of Uraraka getting crushed, it's Deku, and Deku's like, help me, and they're like, oh no, Deku, and then they just all get grins on their face and like smirk and stuff, and they like, you really think that we would help you with your weak ass quirk? We just pretended to be your friend because we just wanted to make you feel good, but now's our perfect time just to act like we just couldn't do anything, and we'll just let you die because the society, you're just a burden to society and stuff like that. And I was like, Uraraka, how about you? And then she's like, Gen's like, I'm about to end this man's whole career. And then she's like, oh, you really think that I loved you? And then he kisses Ida right on the lips, and Uraraka's like, I've been cheating on you the entire time, and you're too stupid to even notice. And yeah, they like, let's say Momo had like sabotaged the security while they were like the security cameras while they were acting like this. And then, right when they went back on, they acted like they were just running away and couldn't do anything. And, UA is like, sees that, Deku's being crushed, and they're like, well, don't want any blood on our hands. And, they just, they don't mention him at all. And, yeah, they just say, like, that he's gone missing to Inko, and then Inko's like, who's that? And then, Nazu's like, well, works for us, because they don't want any blood on their hands for a kid dying, and they just threw, Deku out after, like, they just threw him into the forest to leave him to die. And, so Deku sees how bad the hero, society really is. And he's like, he, like, is just barely able to crawl out of the woods because he hardened himself right before he got crushed. And, he's like, I have no friends or family or anyone to be loved, and I will just destroy the society and create a new one if it's the last thing I do. And then, just barely gets to, like, out of the forest, and people see him, and like, oh my god, call an ambulance, blah, 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 blah. And, that's when Deku passed out, blacked out, and, when he woke up, he saw that he was in a hospital bed, and turns out that he'd been in a coma for about 3 months, and, let's just say that USJ hasn't happened yet, and he's basically fully recovered, and he's like, well, what, and doesn't know what happened, but, no, it's like, oh, okay. He's not like, what? He's like, okay, guess I'm awake now. And basically what happened while he was in a coma for that time, basically, I don't know how he's in a coma, letting you know, I don't know, I'm not that smart, so I wouldn't know how that happened, I'm just gonna say it did, because plot, and, yeah. So basically, Deku had woken up in his, mindscape, because that's what I'm saying, it happened, and, yeah, that's my story, but woke up in his mindscape, and there's just, like, a blackboard, and he's like, where are we, where am I, and, the blackboard just writes, just words appear on the blackboard, and it says, this is your mindscape, you are in, this is a place where you can create whatever you want, you could create an entire universe, and then destroy it as easily as you want. You have unlimited power, and every hour in the real world is a year here. And Deku's like, okay, and, Deku, and then, the chalkboard also says, you're not able to gain strength by just creating it so you can, get power, like, giving yourself access to power. You actually have to train. So basically, he can't actually, say, I want to be able to harden 1,000 times harder easily, and he can't do that. He actually has to train to do that. And, yeah. So Deku, just starts training because he wants to get stronger. And, so he's just been training that entire time, and he had been training his, muscles, but mostly just his hardening work, and now he can do Unbreakable mode easily. That's just, his normal Unbreakable mode for Kirishima, and that's just his normal, hardening. You just harden straight to Unbreakable mode for Kirishima, and, so, because it's been, if it was 3 months, and every hour was, a year there, that's a lot of time. I don't know how long, but that's a lot of time. And, yeah, he's like, so he tests it out, and sure enough, he's able to do Unbreakable mode. Or not Unbreakable mode, but, quite, it's not called Unbreakable mode, but it's just as strong as that, so that's what I'm gonna call it. And, he's also able to, he used to only be able to do it all over his body, harden his entire body. Now he's able to do it in just, a foot, or, his chest, or his arm, or something. So, yeah, I don't, might come to play sometime, I don't know. But, yeah, so, Deku is basically fully healed. He just needs, another week in the hospital, and everybody sees him wake up. And they're like, oh my god, he's awake. And they're like, what happened? And Deku's like, I was at the entrance exam for UA, and I was hurt badly. Instead of healing me, they just left me to die out in the woods. And they just, laugh, and they're like, UA would never do that. They're a hero school. They're here to help us, not just, kill us. And they're like, well, we're just gonna have to let you go if you're not gonna tell us. And Deku's like, oh, whatever. And just, he's fully healed by now. And, are basically fully healed. He just has, some pain in his, left arm or something, I don't know. And, yeah. So, Deku's like, I am going to change this world, and I will stop the heroes from corrupting this world and them being corrupted anymore. And, yeah. So, okay. Also, the sludge villain attack, I forgot to say that. That doesn't happen. Because he went another way to go train with Uraraka and everybody, and Sludgeman gets caught. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. And yeah, so yeah, so Deku is just heading to the underworld, and is like, I'm looking to start up a new organization, and I need a specific type of people to join so they can relate to me. And I'm gonna say he meets 3 people. One with an ice quirk, a girl with an ice quirk, or Todoroki's sister. I'm gonna call her Todoroki number 1, because I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of names because I'm bad at I don't know names. So if you want to, preferably, you could put a name in the comments and let me know. Oh, that's a good name for these 2 other people too. And then Todoroki number 2, and that is a guy with a fire quirk. And yeah. So I guess I will yeah. You'll see some stuff. And then it's a guy, let's call him, he has a thread quirk. And yeah, so they have he's able to weave really well, and set up small traps and stuff, but nothing crazy. And yeah, so they all had similar things where they'd been bullied and just like um, bullied and stuff just because they weren't just because they weren't they didn't have strong quirks, and from being abused by physically and mentally abused by fiery guy, Todoroki dad dude, him, yeah, and then stuff like that, and Deku's like, okay, so this is kind of weird, but there's this thing that I learned that only I can do, and I'm just gonna say it's just him. Only I can do it. And basically, I'm gonna be able to train you, except it's gonna be really, really fast. It's gonna be really long in there, but it's gonna be really, really fast here. And I'm gonna say Deku has learned to be able to take people into his mindscape, because plot. And yeah, that night they just like run to a hotel, and is able to bring them into his mindscape. Because let's say he's just able to go into his mindscape on command now. Because yeah, and he teaches them. He just teaches them how to, like, what to train and how to train. And yeah. So I'm gonna say they would do this for 2 weeks over the nighttime, and then during the daytime they would just do some small things, nothing crazy, just like robbing a store or something. And they've been like recruiting some small time villains, just some thugs and stuff. Nothing crazy, nothing big. And yeah, they're all Todoroki number 1 is able to do she's able to launch ice. It's much stronger than Todoroki, and is also able to manipulate ice, like telekinesis, or she can just like hold them around her and then launch them at high speeds and stuff like that. And she's also able to turn the ice into snow or water and then manipulate it from that. So kind of like a waterbender, except yeah. And then Todoroki number 2 is able to change the heat from like red fire to white fire, like red to orange to yellow to blue to white. And then if he goes to his max, I know black doesn't make sense, but it's what a lot of whatevers do. Black fire is his hottest, and it's at its fullest potential, and it's gonna be called like Satan Flame. So it's Hell Flame with Fire Dude, Todoroki's dad, and except it's Satan Flame. Get it? Because like it's Hell Flame except stronger, and he's also able to like make bombs or like send it out, and then it explodes and vaporizes everything in its radius. And yeah. And then String Guy, I forgot what I named him already. String Guy, I'm just gonna call him that. He is able to manipulate any type of wire or something thin enough, so it could be like a cable, like a really thin like wire cable, or core could just be string, or it could be anything. And he's able to set traps easily, and he always keeps on him enough, or just a ton of really thin string. And then he's also able to turn into string, kind of like a Logia fruit from One Piece. And yeah, so Deku is just taught them everything, and actually, just to make them also more powerful, Todoroki number 2 is able to turn into fire when he gets shot or stuff, and Todoroki number 1 is able to turn into water, and yeah, because I feel like in One Piece, like the the admiral or whatever, spoilers, I think, I don't know, has an ice Logia fruit, and so he's able to heal from anything, but I feel like it would just shatter him. So that confuses me, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's just gonna be water. And yeah. So Deku is just yeah. Should I do any more?